The man standing next to you just told you he would take a bullet for you. He means it. You can see it in his face. He's not the kind of person who says things he doesn't mean. He's the kind of person who follows through on everything. You look back at him and you say, the only thing you can say. I'd take one for you too, brother. And the worst part is, in that moment, you're not sure if you're lying. Your name is Scott Payne, 6'4", 260 pounds, covered in tattoos, built like something that grew up in the woods and never fully came back out. People who meet you for the first time don't forget you. People who underestimate you don't do it twice. You grew up in the American South. You know how to hunt, how to fight, how to drink, how to fix an engine with whatever's around. You know what it feels like to be angry at the world and not quite know why. You know the language of men who feel left behind, because you spoke it once. The FBI recruited you because of all of this, not despite it, because the people they needed you to find, the ones planning bombings, running drugs, stockpiling weapons, plotting race wars in abandoned fields in the middle of the night, those people don't open the door for a man in a suit. They open it for someone who looks exactly like you. Your job is to become their brother, their confidant, their most trusted friend, and then to destroy them. You've been doing this since 1996. By the time this story ends, you will have spent nearly 3 decades building relationships you were always going to betray. You will have infiltrated motorcycle gangs, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and domestic terror cells planning mass murder. You will retire with commendations, with a day named after you, with the knowledge that you stopped things most people never found out were coming, and you will never fully be able to explain what it cost. This is the story of 3 identities, 3 men you became, and the 1 man you had to stay underneath all of them. It's 2002 and you're standing at a bar in Massachusetts watching a group of men who would kill you if they knew who you really were. They're members of the Outlaws motorcycle club, main rivals of the Hells Angels. Drug trafficking, prostitution, money laundering, violence against rival gangs. The FBI has been watching them for years. Now they're sending you in. Your legend is tight. You're Scott Calloway from deep South Texas up in Massachusetts for work. You love Harleys, whiskey, and you have no patience for people who waste your time. Your nickname will be Tex. You've committed every detail to memory. The problem is that one piece of your intelligence is wrong. You were told these men wouldn't be wearing their colors tonight. They are. You can't just walk up and say you ride. You need them to come to you, so you work the room. You tell jokes too loud. You take up too much space. You make yourself impossible to ignore, and it works. A man they call Spanky, who can't stand not being the center of attention, notices you stealing his spotlight and sends you a drink. Within an hour, you're being introduced around the room. Within a week, you're riding with them. For a year and a half, you are Tex. You drink with them. You fight alongside them. You help them run insurance fraud and vehicle trafficking across state lines. You laugh at their jokes and show up when they call and stand shoulder to shoulder with men who have done terrible things and will do more. And then you meet Scott Town. He's an outlaw. He's your age. He likes to drink, likes to fight, likes to ride. You complete each other's sentences. His daughter is the exact same age as yours. There's a moment early on when you look at him and realize something that sits in your chest like a stone. This is who you might have become if the path had bent a different way. If 1 or 2 things in your life had gone differently. He becomes the closest friend you've made in any undercover operation, ever. And then he looks at you one day and says the words you were dreading. I don't have many friends. Somebody I know would take a bullet for me, and I'd take one for them. He pauses. You're one of those guys. You don't let anything show on your face. Inside, something shifts. The operation ends with a drug deal. 40 kilos of cocaine, 1,000 pounds of marijuana, Mexican cartel sellers, Canadian buyers, outlaws providing security, all of them FBI, all of it a trap you built. 15 men are arrested. Scott Town gets 7 years. The night of the arrests, your phone rings at 4 a.m. It's him. He's heard something is wrong. He wants to warn you. He tells you to be careful. His last words to you are, I love you, brother. You say it back. 45 minutes later, a SWAT team hits his house. You never speak to him again. 3 years later, you're dialing a phone number you got from a tip about a biker rally. The man who answers is named John Jack, a KKK member whose love of Jack Daniels earned him his road name. He starts telling you about a rally coming up, vendors, burning crosses, country music. There's just one problem, he says. His band fell through. The singer got locked up. You pause for exactly 1 second. Did I happen to mention I'm a musician? You don't know it yet, but you just bought yourself a ticket into America's oldest terrorist organization. April 21st, 2017. You drive until you find an empty lot in the middle of nowhere, fenced in, surrounded by men in all black holding rifles. The Nighthawks, the clan's security force. Many of them are felons. All of them are armed. You get out of the truck with your acoustic guitar and your PA system. Over the next weeks, you will study the KKK's constitution and bylaws. You will read what they call the Koran, their handbook, their Bible. You will learn their handshakes, their oaths, their insignia. You will attend classes, spelled with a K, to pass the Cluno test. Character, honor, duty. And one night in a field in Alabama, you will stand blindfolded with your right hand on the shoulder of the man in front of you while someone in a green robe reads an oath over you. I do swear from this moment forward to fostering the welfare of the white race, to further the work of America's greatest movement. They take your blindfold off. A man in a robe touches your shoulder with a sword. You drive home afterward and sit in your truck for a long moment. You just got naturalized in the Ku Klux Klan. The case doesn't develop the way the FBI hoped. The intelligence isn't moving fast enough. But something else is coming into focus. A group that makes the KKK look like a relic. Older, slower, stuck in the past. This new group is younger, better equipped, and they don't want to burn crosses. They want to burn everything. It's July 2019, and you're creating a fake Facebook profile. Your goal is to get banned as fast as possible. You post enough racist content to get kicked off within days. Then you move to Gab, a social platform known for tolerating far-right extremism. You participate in forums. You build a digital trail. You construct a history for a man who doesn't exist. On July 15th, you send an email. I've been seeing your stuff, and I'm definitely interested. Survival and self-defense. The next day, a response. Thanks for contacting the base. The base is an accelerationist neo-Nazi terror network, founded a year earlier by a man who runs it from St. Petersburg, Russia. Their ideology has a specific goal, not to preserve white supremacy within the existing system, but to collapse the system entirely. Poisoning water supplies, derailing trains, taking down power grids, assassinations. They call the collapse the Boogaloo. After the collapse, the plan is to build white ethnostates from the ruins. You are now trying to join them. You give them a name, White Warrior 88, age 44. You're actually 48, but you know the average member is between 18 and 25. You claim a history as a former skinhead from South Carolina, a biker with connections, a man with a specific skill set. The vetting process is thorough, email exchanges, a phone interview that runs an hour, and finally, an in-person meeting in Rome, Georgia. You step out of your truck. They tell you to put your phone in airplane mode. A man produces a device, something you've never seen before, lights all over it, looks like a Geiger counter, and starts wanding you. You're clean. No wire. Then he starts wanding your truck. The device goes crazy near the rear driver's side panel. That's where your team placed the tracking device. You watch the needle jump and the lights flash and you feel your heartbeat in your fingertips. The man moves the wand, moves it back. The beeping intensifies. Then his partner looks up at the power lines running overhead and the device goes wild in that direction too. Damn, he says, it's the power lines. You exhale so slowly that no one hears it. They take you to an abandoned concrete plant, wand you again. You pass, you're in. Over the next 3 months, you become Pale Horse. You attend training camps, hand-to-hand combat, weapons drills, grappling. You meet men from Texas, Alabama, Michigan, Delaware. You learn their code names: Punish Snake, Helter Skelter, Pestilence, TMBB, the Militant Buddhist. You memorize their faces and their voices and their plans. And the plans are specific. Halloween night, 2019. You're at a training camp on a 100-acre property in rural Georgia. You wake up to fists pounding on your window at 3 a.m. You step outside, they've stolen a goat. What happens next, you will carry with you for the rest of your life. The ritual, the blade, the gun, the blood mixed with LSD passed around the circle, the burning American flags, the burning Bibles, 30 men screaming into a bonfire in the Georgia dark. Death to your Jewish God. Death to America. You are the only FBI agent in that field. You are also, in the ways that matter most in that moment, completely alone. Weeks later, TMBB pulls you into a separate chat room. He calls it the camping trip. The target is an Antifa couple in the Georgia area. The plan is entry, execution, arson. TMBB will lead. Pestilence will set the fire. Helter Skelter has made a specific request. He wants to be the one to pull the trigger. He calls it popping his cherry. He's 22 years old. They discuss DNA protocols. Taping pants to shoes, Vaseline on eyebrows, adult diapers, because TMBB read somewhere that first-time killers sometimes lose control of their bowels. Meanwhile, the Baltimore cell is planning something larger. They've identified a pro-Second Amendment rally in Virginia scheduled for January 20th, 2020. Their plan is to fire into the crowd, into a mix of militia members, cops, and protesters, and let the chaos ignite itself. They believe this could start the Boogaloo. You have weeks. It's a Wednesday in January 2020. You're driving through Rome, Georgia with Luke Lane in the passenger seat. TMBB, the man who brought you into murder plots and pagan rituals and the darkest corners of a movement that wants to burn the country down. You've been talking to him for months. You know his voice better than your own some days. You know his fears and his obsessions and the specific way his face changes when he talks about what he believes is coming. You take a left out of his neighborhood, pre-planned by the SWAT team. You pull up tight to a fence and say something's wrong with the truck. You get out to check. Another vehicle pulls up. Your case team. You play it like an old friend you haven't seen in years. Luke is watching you, not the bearcat coming over the hill behind him. When it crests the rise, you step into the back of the agent's truck. Go. You hear the SWAT team giving commands as the door closes. The next morning, teams hit the Baltimore cell simultaneously. Punish Snake, can't go back. The network comes down in 48 hours. Luke Lane, TMBB, 6 years. Pestilence, 13. Helter Skelter, 5. Punish Snake, 9. They never find out who Pale Horse really was. You retire in June 2021. At the ceremony, they name a day after you. June 30th is Scott Payne Day. There are colleagues there and top FBI brass and people you worked with for decades who know only parts of what you did. You stand there and you accept it. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you hear a voice you haven't heard in years. A man who told you he would take a bullet for you. A man who called you at 4 a.m. to warn you. A man who said, "I love you, brother," and meant every word. Scott Town served his 7 years. You served your country. You built relationships that you were always going to betray. That's the definition of what you did. You said it yourself once in a training room at Quantico to a class of new agents who were about to learn the same thing you learned. It doesn't feel like a definition when you're living it. It feels like friendship. And the most dangerous thing about the job, the thing they can train you for but never fully prepare you for, is that the friendship is real, even when everything else is a lie. You kept the country safe from men who wanted to burn it down. You're just not always sure what you burned to do it.